Well, it looks like the federal Liberals are finally working in a science-grounded way when it comes to the ideologies of harm reduction and theorized safer supply, to use Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's own words.
We have been very, very clear that the toxic drug crisis and the opioid epidemic is something that we need to respond to with the best science possible, with the best support for people struggling with addictions possible, and with an emphasis on community safety.
Last week, the Justin Trudeau Liberals rejected the City of Toronto's request to decriminalize illicit hard drugs, an exemption made possible under the federal statute that was first piloted by the ultra-progressive province of British Columbia. Health Canada first granted BC a 3-year pilot project exemption under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act to decriminalize drug users. It came into effect last year on January 31st, 2023. Yet earlier this month, and a little bit over a year after the pilot was launched, the province officially asked the feds to recriminalize hard drugs and amend their exemption, effectively walking back the failed initiative amid rising chaos, public disorder, and ever-increasing overdoses.
The use of illicit drugs in public places now recriminalized by Ottawa at the demand of the BC government, a significant reversal 1 year into a 3-year pilot project.
It is a process of learning, taking that learning and adjusting and making sure that we move forward so that we're saving lives.
For some out-of-touch reason, though, Toronto's Chief Public Health Officer, Eileen de Villa, who is best known for sicking all of the King's horses and all of the King's men on small business owners who tried to stay afloat and remain open during the COVID-19 pandemic hysteria, requested the very same exemption that wasn't working in BC after they were in the process of recriminalizing drug use. On May the 1st, de Villa issued a press release noting the recent developments in British Columbia, so she acknowledges that she's aware of them, but goes on to say that decriminalization is an evidence-informed model that aims to reduce harms associated with drug use, promote and provide pathways to treatment, and does not sacrifice public safety. Except the exact opposite is true. Even Liberal MPs are saying it.
Colleagues that I met up with, one was assaulted as he was going to the bar. Another one was threatened. About within a month of that also, I was returning down Wellington Street from downtown to Rideau Centre. My son, who's 15, was coming after me. It was nighttime, and there was someone out in the middle of the streets yelling and screaming, kind of accosting cars. I asked them, the parliamentary police, or said this to them, and they said, oh, he's someone we know, don't worry about him. My son didn't know that. So I waited for him because I didn't want him to have to face some kind of crazy person accosting him in the street. There's certainly the perception by a lot of Canadians that a lot of downtown cores are basically out of control.
This prompted Ontario's Health Minister, Sylvia Jones, to issue a press release calling on de Villa to rescind her misguided application. Minister Jones states that Ontario is 100% opposed to the proposal and would never support the request, which would only add to crime and public drug use while doing nothing to support people struggling with addiction. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was questioned thereafter, and he said the government will continue to follow science-grounded ways of dealing with all of this.
We have been very, very clear that the toxic drug crisis and the opioid epidemic is something that we need to respond to with the best science possible, with the best support for people struggling with addictions possible, and with an emphasis on community safety. And that means working with partners right across the country. And it also means making sure that we're taking this with a public health approach and a community safety approach, as opposed to necessarily criminalizing or further marginalizing people. But no order of government can do this alone. That's why we're focused on working with people on the front lines, whether it's at the provincial health systems or at the cities, to keep people safe. And we will continue to work in a science-grounded way of dealing with this horrific tragedy that has hit so many people so hard.
Then, of course, it was announced that the Liberals denied Davila's drug decriminalization request, indicating that perhaps this is a turning point in the failed $1 billion safer supply project known as the Canadian Drug Substance Strategy, that notes the rates of substance use and related harm only continue to rise since its inception in 2016.
After the decision, Chow sent a letter to Ottawa and the province asking for them to come together on a pilot for a 24/7 crisis treatment program and for more resources because the city can't afford to do it alone.
Come together and find a common ground. We do have a common ground. We know what works, that it has to be a comprehensive approach, is science-based, evidence-based. Let's listen to the experts.
For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. The crime and chaos that has descended onto Canadian towns and cities under the guise of harm reduction and safer supply of illicit hard drugs can no longer be ignored. To view our reports and support our work on this topic, please visit fixourcities.com. We hope to see you over there, and please consider supporting our work if you can. That's fixourcities.com.